What's up, YouTube? Going to be looking at some Slingshot ammo today. I'll just throw this out there. I am not Jorg, so you might be surprised that you actually found a video about slingshots that didn't have Jorg all over it. So, yeah. Without further ado, we'll kind of get into the topic at hand today. We've got our Slingshot ammo here. 1/4 inch steel ball, a 3/8 inch steel ball, and then this custom type of shot that I made out of a mixture of air dry clay, steel BBs, lead pellets, and then some acrylic paint. And we'll talk more about that in a little bit here. These are probably going to be the preferred type of ammunition that I would want to use. As far as like marbles or other synthetic materials, they're okay. They're hard. They're round, which are two things that you want out of your shot, but they just don't have the density or the mass behind them. And it's okay if it's not that heavy, if it's the proportion of the size of the projectile matches the density, because you can get penetration. For instance, even on this little 1/4 inch shot, it's hard enough and small enough and has enough weight, you are going to be able to get some penetration out of it. The problem with the glass marbles is they're a lot bigger. They're about the size of this projectile here, but they don't have that same density of the lead and the steel. Now they can still be used for killing. They can be effective, and there's the impact blunt force side of it as far as hunting, which can kill, but they're not going to be quite as effective as those heavier projectiles. As far as for target shooting, they're great. They're fine for that. Rocks, one thing I hear people say all the time is, oh, you can use rocks as unlimited ammunition for your slingshot and it's free. Well, the problem with rocks is that they vary in size and shape, so you're not going to get consistency out of them. They also don't fly true because they have a flat side or just an odd shaped side, and they're not balanced, so you're not going to get the accuracy that you can get out of round projectiles. So that's one reason I don't like rocks. I mean, as a last resort, yeah, they might work, but you're better off sticking to a uniform type of ammunition so that you can get that consistency. As far as their performance for hunting, I've not used the smaller shot for hunting. I have killed a rabbit with the 3/8 inch with a headshot, and that seemed to work fine. It was close range, but it definitely did a number on the rabbit. I would think the smaller shot would work for birds, probably be pretty effective for those. The 3/8 definitely. The larger shot, I have not actually killed anything with it yet, and I guess we can talk about that right now. As far as how I made these, it's basically just air dry clay, which you can pick up for like $5 for like 5 pounds of it. It's very inexpensive. And then I just took BBs like these, steel or copper, and then real cheap air gun pellets, which you can get for $5 or $6 for 500. And I basically took 2 to 3 pellets and about 15 BBs, between about 10 to 15 BBs. And the first thing I did was I pushed the pellets inside the clay, rolled it around, then coated the pellets with the BBs, and then rolled that around in my hand. And once you do that, you can't see it because these have been painted, but the BBs will basically start to get pushed towards the center. Not completely, but they shouldn't really be sticking outside of, on the outer surface. You might see a couple poking through, like with this one. You can see a few sticking through because it's so small. But if you make them a little bit bigger, and you can vary the size, the BBs won't really be sticking out. So that just helps to make it, more round, and it's just going to fly better if it's as round as possible. It doesn't have to be perfect. So basically, you just roll up the lead and the BBs inside the air dry clay. Excuse me. Let it sit for, really, you're gonna have to let it sit for like 24 hours before you do anything with it. As far as shooting it, you can, depending on the weather, the heat, you can paint them after several hours. I've used just acrylic artist paint, and the reason I've chose that is because it basically turns into almost kind of like a latex or a rubber, and serves two purposes. The air dry clay is dusty to the touch, and it's almost brittle, so it keeps it from that dust from getting everywhere. And more importantly, it basically seals this all in and gives it an extra layer so that the pellet or the shot doesn't fall apart. These are somewhat brittle. I've actually shot these before, and they've hit the ground or hit a rock and they didn't break, amazingly enough. But they can break open on impact. Now that acrylic layer definitely helps to make it stronger. So these aren't really going to penetrate, but they're going to be more of a bludgeon. Obviously, they're about twice the size of the larger steel ball, so these are pretty hefty. I just did them in different paint, just leftover paints. The color doesn't matter, and you can see there's little imperfections because when you paint them, they roll around and it sticks, and then it comes off a little. But as long as it's about 90% covered in paint, you're good to go. They're pretty much going to be a one-time usage anyways. So I've made about 150 of these so far, and it takes a little while. As far as the cost, the BBs and the pellets, that can be expensive. So the air dry clay, that's not very expensive at all, but you would definitely need, several thousand BBs and a couple tins of pellets to get yourself a few hundred rounds of the shot. So it's probably going to be about, it's hard to say price wise, maybe $20 for like 500 rounds or something. It's still a pretty good deal. The steel shot can be pretty expensive, so it can be like $10 for like 100 rounds. So you're gonna get a lot more shots out of these. You can sometimes, like I said, reuse them. What's nice about the steel shot is the rabbit that I killed, it took me 5 shots to hit it because I just wasn't used to how shooting that close. I was kind of sighted in at a longer range, and it was behind some brush, so I kept missing. And I went back to that same spot about a week later, and I actually found 2 of the pellets, or 2 of the ball bearings sitting on the ground. And they're easy to spot because they're shiny silver. So you can actually find these even out in the field. Obviously not in tall grass, but if they're just laying on the ground, you can usually see them. So that helps that you can reuse them. You can always fire into like a towel or some sort of cloth. And just put your or use that as your backstop so that it collects the pellets. And you can just reuse them over and over again, especially for target practice. It just doesn't make sense to be shooting these one time when you can easily collect them. And it's not like air guns where they don't want you to reuse the same pellets. They're steel, so they don't really get damaged, and they don't have to be perfect anyways for a slingshot. So, as far as the way I carry these, I've done another video where I just took a little bar magnet and coated it with the ball bearings, the steel, and they all just attract to it, so you can carry about 100 rounds on one little magnet. Keeps them all together. It's real nice. For the clay shot, this is playing cards case, and I've shot a few of these, but you can put about 20 rounds in here, and then just close that, put a rubber band over it so they don't pop open, and then you can at least transport that in your pocket. It's not as accessible as the BBs on the shot on the magnet, but you can always keep a couple loose ones in your pocket if you need to. Aside from that, that's pretty much it. I've got a few other different slingshot related videos out there as far as ammunition and the different types of slingshots. Be sure to check those out. Rate, subscribe, comment. Thanks for watching.